Welcome back. Union Minister for Forest and Environment Bhupendra Yadav will visit the Kuno National Park soon to assess the progress of Project Cheetah. This comes in the wake of the deaths of 3 adult cheetahs and 3 cubs in the past 2 months. Officers selected from amongst the team involved in the conservation and management of the cheetahs at Kuno will also be sent on a study tour to Namibia and South Africa, from where these cheetahs have been brought in. Since last year, total 20 cheetahs were translocated to Kuno. With 17 adult cheetahs now left, along with a lone surviving cub, the Forest Department has brought all hands on deck to ensure the rest of the population remains safe. CNN News 18 brings you this exclusive ground report.
Six cheetah deaths in just 2 months has put the spotlight back on India's Project Cheetah, which is perhaps facing its toughest time. With only 17 cheetahs now left, along with a lone surviving cub, the Forest Department is working on a war footing to ensure their safety. But the challenge is India's unusual weather cycle.
It's the start of winter in South Africa and a scorching summer here in India, with heat waves prevailing over several parts of the country. When the female Namibian cheetah Jwala gave birth to 4 cubs early this year on 29th March, she expected cool winter nights and probably a rainy season. But what she got instead was a harsh summer. And as the Forest Department officials put it, these vulnerable creatures were indeed deceived by the sudden change in the weather cycle here. And it will take at least a year for them to understand the change in the weather here.
जैसे मतलब चीतों के आने की बात से जो है ना, मतलब लोगों को एक उम्मीद है कि यहाँ पे भविष्य में मतलब रोजगार के संसाधन बढ़ेंगे और जिससे उनकी आजीविका चलेगी, इसलिए मतलब लोगों में उत्सुकता देखी गई है।
चीता है जब से बहुत बदलाव हुआ है जी, लोगों में बहुत खुशी की है आसपास के क्षेत्रों में भैया।
तो यहाँ पे किसी ने क्या कभी चीता देखा है बाहर निकलते हुए, कभी किसी को दिखा हो?
नहीं, बाहर तो नहीं देखा जी, अंदर जरूर हमने देखा है।
All 3 cheetah cubs died of heat stroke, confirms post-mortem report, and the 4th one is said to be stable. One female cheetah went as far as Madhya National Park, almost 45 kilometers away. The forest staff members who went to track her at 3 a.m. on Friday night were beaten up by local villagers who mistook them to be dacoits.
जानवर यहाँ पे आते हैं?
यहाँ कहाँ पे? जंगल में रहते हैं यहाँ जानवर।
Many tourists have thronged the Kuno National Park to see these creatures in the wild, but unfortunately had to return disappointed.
हमको हिरण दिखा है, नील गाय दिखी है, मोर वगैरह दिखी, बस और कुछ नहीं दिखा।
अच्छा, चीता को देखने की उम्मीद जरूर होगी।
उम्मीद लेके आए थे, कुछ और भी जानवर मिलेंगे हम लोग को देखने। बच्चों को लेके आए हम साथ में, दूर दूर से आए बच्चे हमारे, लेकिन निराशा ही हाथ लगी।
Keep patience and a little bit of hope. Well, that is the message the Forest Department has to give for people tracking Project Cheetah across the country and across the world. As of now, 17 adult cheetahs now remain. 11 of them are in the bomas, while 6 of them have been released into the wild. The condition of the lone cub surviving is now stable.
Let me go across to a special guest who's joining us, Dr. Divyabhanusinh, who's a former member of the Cheetah Task Force, a renowned wildlife expert. Let me begin by asking you, how do you look at the reports that are coming in of more and more deaths of the cheetahs or the cubs? Is this a trend that can be stopped, or is this just a bad omen of what is to follow?
Okay. Any translocation program you have,
yes,
there would definitely be some kind of mortality. Okay, so this is nothing new in my view. Excuse me. See, the 3 cheetahs that died, one apparently was unwell from the time it came. Mind you, I'm only telling you from what I read in the newspapers. Okay, I'm not privy to what is actually happening on the ground. So one animal appears to have had a problem even before it came here. The other one I read in the reports was bitten by a snake.
Yes.
And the third one, again, as per the newspaper reports, was some kind of internecine aggression, which caused the death of the third. Now, so if these kind of reasons, fine, then this can befall any other cat or any other animal. Now, coming to the cubs, you must appreciate that the cheetah mortality rate of the cubs is very, very high wherever you are, whether it is India or abroad. The cheetah mortality rate of the cubs is pretty high. So I'm not, in that sense, this was not unexpected.
Okay.
At the same time, it is a matter to be concerned about insofar as 3 of the original 20 cheetahs have passed away and 3 of the 4 cubs that were born in India have passed away.
Yes.
Yet at the same time, certain amount of mortality is bound to take place. Now, what steps can be taken? Frankly, that can only be told by somebody who is on the ground.
Right. And we are expecting that, of course, there will be some of those steps taken after a reassessment is done soon. But there have been many critics of this entire program itself. So would you say that it was foolhardy to even attempt this translocation, to reintroduce the cheetah into the Indian wild?
Most certainly not. I mean, there are a lot of critics who said we shouldn't do this at all. I mean, that if you do not take a risk, you're not going to achieve anything in whatever you do. The issue is that here is a translocation program between 2 developing countries across 2 continents. And therefore, it is, in my opinion, extremely important that this kind of translocations take place in restoring a species which has become extinct. And in this case, the only species of an animal which has become extinct after independence. I don't think it was foolhardy at all.
Okay, but some experts have suggested that, the cheetahs were never really native to India. I'm sure you've heard these comments, and therefore, we shouldn't be really attempting to reintroduce them here.
Look, the cheetahs evolved in South Africa, and from there they radiated out into the rest of the African continent and into Asia. All right? And to say that they were brought in by human beings, are we therefore to believe, and it boggles my mind, that they came up to Iran, took a look at the Indo-Iranian border, there was no Pakistan then, and looked at the blackbuck and the chinkara and the cheetal and the hare and so on, and said, hey, we don't want to go here, we want to go back to Iran. Is that the statement? Or, if that is not the statement, who brought them? Where is the proof? See, cheetahs in India were brought by Indian princes from 1918 onwards to 1947 because cheetahs in India had become extremely rare and were about to become extinct. In my estimation, less than 200 cheetahs came here. There was one report, only one solitary report of a cheetah before that coming into India in 1890. There was one cheetah in the Alipore Zoo, which was from Africa. That besides, there is no report, that is 40 years of my hunting through historical records, there is no report of a single cheetah coming into India from Africa. Now, even if a single cheetah did come in, that does not make a trade. You yourself know very well that cheetahs breed with great difficulty, all right? So how many cheetahs were brought in here so that Emperor Akbar could have 1,000 cheetahs at one point? How many cheetahs were brought in here so that the Tariq-e Firoz Shahi says that he had so many animals, so many cheetahs and siagosh in his menagerie that people couldn't count? How many cheetahs had to be brought in and bred naturally or artificially in India, of which we have no record whatever, of Someshwara III writing a whole description on how to train cheetahs in the 11th century. I'm sorry, in the 12th century, and how to hunt with them, hunt a blackbuck with them. So, I mean, this is, in my opinion, totally an absurd proposition, and that is certainly not the reason why we should not bring African cheetahs.
All right. So you're saying that this was not the wrong project to take on. The question on everyone's mind, from the interest of the common public, will be what can be done to make this project successful? Is this the site at Kuno which is the problem because of high heat, as some are suggesting, or the way in which this project is being implemented?
All right. see, cheetahs have lived in the deserts. All right. So I don't think what you call temperature is an issue.
Okay.
Now, the action plan which was worked out very well before the cheetahs were brought in had taken care of all these things. In my opinion, there are three basic points which are integral to the cheetah introduction program. One is that you must have these 20 cheetahs, or now whatever 17 cheetahs that we have left. These cheetahs need to move out not only in Kuno, but as envisaged in the plan itself to other areas. For example, Mukundra is a ready site to go there. If there are any health issues, they can be always looked at and sorted out. That is very important to my way of thinking. Secondly, the other point is to see when you introduce any animal, whether it is cheetah or the lion or the tiger or wherever it is, you have to look at the prey base. Now, if the prey base needed to be augmented, and I think some augmentation needed to be done in Kuno, whether that is taken place or not, I don't know. But if that be the case, then prey base needs to be augmented. Thirdly, the expertise, which we don't have, we need to get from outside. And we had the expertise, we got them from South Africa, Namibia, etc., etc. Now, I do not know whether this expertise is still available to us, but if expertise is required, and if we don't have the expertise, for instance, and I know we don't have the expertise for mass capture and so on, not only of cheetah, but perhaps of nilgai and blackbuck. Then let us get that expertise from abroad. Now, what I'm saying is these are the integral parts of the successful program. Now, I don't know
whether it's
how much
happening
of
or
it
not
has happened on the ground, because I'm not a member of the team, and I would not go make any statements on the basis of newspaper reports alone. But these are, to my mind, integral part. Have we got the scientific know-how? For instance, we had developed certain scientific know-how. Do we still have it? Because we had the people coming and telling us from South Africa and Namibia.
Yes.
Now, those people, are they still here? Not here? I don't know.
What we are hearing is that some of our members will go to these countries and pick up some of those know-how possibly. Finally, are you hopeful and confident that a project like this can succeed, given the right things are done, as you're mentioning? Or is this project doomed to fail and lead to heartbreak and the understanding that something like this should never be attempted again?
No. Why should it? It's certainly not doomed to failure at all.
Okay.
If what I'm saying, these 2 or 3 issues which are there, and I'm sure these should be looked at, and I'm not sure just where the whole situation is, as I said, because I'm not a member, I'm not aware of what's happening on the ground. But if these kind of issues are taken care of, it would certainly not be a doomed failure. Please try and understand. It took 50 years for Project Tiger to have 3,000 tigers.
Right.
It took 70 years from nearly extinct rhinos, according to the Chief Minister of Assam in 1952, that rhinos are practically extinct in Assam. Today you have 4,000. It has taken 70 years. To protect the lion, the first effort to protect the lion started in 1879. Today, 150 years later, you have something like 700 lions all over Saurashtra. So this is a long haul. What has happened so far is a very small first step in the whole program.
Okay.
Now, the real program begins now. And I see no reason why it should not succeed. Provided, as I said, the various
right
points that I've said, which are the integral part of this program, are taken care of.
All right. I leave it at that. Dr. Bhanusinh, thanks a lot for giving us your thoughts. Let's hope that the project can indeed succeed. With that, it's a wrap on Plain Speak. Thanks a lot for watching.